Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. Today we have something a little different from our usual CLE format. For the CLE, you're getting a live Velvet Hammer podcast recorded episode straight from our studio here at Stritmatter Law. So welcome to the Velvet Hammer establishing vicarious liability against Amazon in delivery driver lawsuits. I'm Kassie Slugić, Director of Outreach and Marketing here at Stritmatter Law. As many of you know, Stritmatter Law is licensed by the Washington State Bar Association as a CLE sponsor, and today's session is approved for one law and legal credit. To receive credit, please stick around till the end of the presentation, at which time I will push through the poll for you to write your bar number. Feel free to submit Q&A or questions to the Q&A box. Our presenters are Karen Koehler and Mo Hamoudi, co-hosts of the Velvet Hammer podcast, available on all major platforms. This year, they also launched their show on YouTube, actually last year, with the help of sound and audio producer Mike Todd. So you will notice that he is here today as well. Please join me in welcoming Karen, Mo, and Mike.
Thanks, Kathy. Cassie.
Yeah. Why am I wearing green?
Wait.
Okay,
It's not green, you're wearing yellow.
Yeah.
Okay, first of
Yep.
all, this is open to the public. We did not limit it to plaintiff lawyers only.
Yes.
That means that there's going to be an Amazon spy here. So we got to talk about everything we can't talk about. No money.
No.
No.
No. We
No.
cannot talk.
How much money?
No, we can't talk
No.
about
We
money.
can't talk about how much.
No money.
No money.
Money.
We can't talk about it.
More money, more
No,
problem.
we don't know.
Okay, no problem.
No, there's no money
No money.
that we know
You
of.
could say they have a lot of money.
What?
Well, they're bigger than these.
No,
Well,
we
they're-
can't. Stop.
We can't.
No.
No?
Uh,
Okay.
but-
Okay, nothing.
All right. And
Let's focus.
we're going to not use names.
No names,
The names shall remain innocent
innocent and hidden and protected.
because
They're all in the witness protection
they're
program.
wonderful people.
Fantastic.
And this is a serious topic.
Yes.
So we have been doing Amazon cases for a while. Before that, I want to just kind of start off by saying that the really first, I can't say money. Can I say big?
No, just say first case.
The first case, non-big or money related,
Yeah.
was Lyft that I did with this e-commerce. I did Lyft. I did it with other attorneys in the firm, Andrew, Lisa, and then we moved on to, and Shannon came on. We moved on to Uber, and then we ended up in Amazon. And of all of them, Lyft, Uber, and Amazon, which is our favorite?
Amazon.
It's just like the best.
I love my Amazon.
There's just something about suing Amazon that is absolutely the best. And the cases that we have in the firm are, very serious. So while we're making light of it, this is not very funny at all.
Nope.
The people that were involved.
Seriously hurt, death, injuries.
Horrible.
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 Catastrophic.
And everything that you've ever heard of folklore, such as, do they pee in the Gatorade bottles?
Yep. True.
True.
Yeah, it's true. It's
Yeah.
it's there's a labor component to these cases that is a separate CLE.
Yeah.
We're not going to get into the labor
Well, we might.
aspect of it, but we may talk about angles having to do. There's a labor component.
Okay, so if you can see Mo right now, you might be wondering, like, what is he doing? And he's wearing one of the vests that we wear when we go to site inspections, and we go right to the Amazon warehouse. If you've never done it before, I highly recommend it. And also so that when we do scene inspections, we don't get hit. But this whole seminar is focused on Amazon, in particular, delivery driver cases. We're not going to be talking very much about product liability.
No.
There's Andrew in the firm loves doing that, and he should talk about it, but he can't talk about it here because he can't. He's not allowed to.
Yeah. Not that he's prohibited from being on a podcast. For other reasons, he can't.
Yeah, he's prohibited.
Well, not by us.
No, not by us.
By somebody else.
Yeah, by somebody else.
Yeah. So what you're talking about, the delivery cases, is like the proper term is first, middle mile, last mile program. And we're going to talk about the last mile program.
Yeah. So Amazon is one of the biggest transportation companies in the world now, certainly in the United States. planes, trains, automobiles, vans, cargo ships, everything. But what we're talking about here in particular is what's called the last mile program.
Yeah.
So once they get to the general destination, they have established key warehouses, and it's getting things from those warehouses to the surrounding customers that has caused them to pretty much take over the public streets. I mean, especially here in the Seattle area.
Yeah, I mean, when's the last time you were driving on the street and you didn't see an Amazon van on the drive?
Everywhere. I can remember, I mean, I was late to go somewhere, which I typically am, and I was in Queen Anne. I was trying to get through, and everybody was stopped. I'm like, what the heck? And what had happened was, of course, Amazon had just stopped in the middle of the road, and in Queen Anne, cars can park on either side. We could not get around, and and just taking their time to not, I mean, obviously they're in a rush, but all the rest of us, some people were able to back out and then go a different direction. I wasn't one of them because we were just kind of one at a time trying to back up and get out of there. There is an ownership of the roads that is very irritating. We are not here to attack the drivers. The drivers are trying to make a living, and this system has been set up for them. We're not here to try to change labor and industries systems like in California, or to say, that they should have more rights and we're not here.
They should.
They should. What we are here to say is when you kill, maim, or injure someone because you are on such a tight rope to have to deliver so many packages, 250 or more packages in a certain particular time, in a certain geographical, per their particular setup and their apps and their equipment. And if you're in a branded truck or not in a branded truck, or if you're in the Flex program, or if it's some DSP or whatever this stuff is, when your job takes life, mows down people, you need to take accountability, you being Amazon. That's what this discussion here today is all about, is if you have had a case. So let me tell a story. Another plaintiff attorney had a case. They had heard that we did Amazon cases, came to talk to me because I'd worked with him before. What had filed the lawsuit had happened almost 2 years ago. They were going into mediation. And I said, what? Don't go into mediation. And then had to rewind that. Now, if you're going into mediation and you have filed the lawsuit and you have a big case and they say that there's $1 million in coverage and you think that that is their policy limits, you're wrong. We are not talking about money.
No.
Other than that.
Just limits.
That limit that they tell you, that is not correct. Mm-hmm. If you look at agency, vicarious liability, responsibility, justice, fairness, and equality in our society. So that's what we're looking at and focusing on during this CLE program is, why did I tell them, no, do not do that? And how did that work out?
Yeah.
Or in the cases where we start from the very beginning.
Yeah.
And we say, we don't care about that first layer of code. Like that's like in one ear, out one ear. No, like what? Don't lie to us. Don't talk to us about it. We don't care. That's not what this is about.
No. Well, I could tell you, I think it's important to put a little bit about the story of Amazon. All of this is public information, is that the company at some point decided that it needed to be directly involved in delivering its packages to its customers. Because historically, what was available is your traditional models, which are UPS, FedEx. And what happened is Amazon said, and the United States Postal Service. And what they said was, we're going to create this arm of Amazon.com, which is its what I call the mothership, called Amazon Logistics. And then what they did is say, we're going to create this logistics model. What we're going to do is create business opportunity for independent business owners to run vans and be able to deliver our products directly as we deliver it to our warehouses and come out of those warehouses and deliver them. This logistics model right now has a significant footprint, not only for what you just described, which is collisions, but environmentally. Like you're talking about lots of vehicles on the roads being used, and like environmentally, I mean like traffic.
And you don't even know half the time because they have the Flex program, which are
That's a separate program.
you don't, but it doesn't say the vehicle won't say Amazon on it.
No.
So you don't know. And then even for the DSPs, the delivery service providers, some of them are branded and they use the Amazon stuff, and some of them are unbranded.
So the last mile program she just described is one is the Flex program, and the other one is called DSP, which is the delivery service providers. Delivery service providers traditionally have an Amazon logo on it. They're under an independent model, and the Flex, the Flex, but that's
Correction.
what. But they well. What I would say is contractually they're under an independent model, just as the Flex is, and you can talk about what vicarious liability does with contract.
Well, don't use the word independent.
Well, that's how it says you're an independent contract. That's a fact. And so part of what we are going to talk about is how to confront these facts, because that's the facts. That's what the contract says.
That doesn't mean that that's what it is.
I understand, but that's the fact that people are like dealing with.
No, it's not a fact.
It is a fact. It is in the contract. You are an independent contractor.
That is it's a label that's inappropriately attached.
Well, I understand, but it's a fact, and you have to find.
I'm saying it's a fact.
Well, I mean, it's not an undisputed fact. It's a fact. We dispute it. What
Okay,
it means.
it's a disputed fact. I'll go with that.
Fine. And then so what ends up happening is that when you create small independent contracting models, or like you have drivers just having their cars, the flex driver or the DSP, you don't have oversight like UPS or FedEx does, because all those drivers work for UPS and FedEx and United States Post Office. Amazon is saying, look, we want to deliver our packages super fast, but we don't want to be responsible for the day-to-day employer-employee responsibilities.
Because why?
Because the regulatory and cost burden are getting yourself involved in that is crazy. Like it costs a lot to have employees.
But I'm not allowed to talk about money, so I'm not going to say anything right now.
Yeah, but that's a regulatory thing. But they also flip it. If you read, it's public. They talk about being independent and earning your own way, because independent business ownership is a good thing, right?
Okay.
So
Well,
Of course it is when it's manipulated by a corporation.
I gotta stop. I gotta stop you here because
Well, that's the company line.
that is maybe that's the company, what the company.
Maybe
does
that
what
was
you're
written
doing.
by a publicist somewhere. You are
Maybe,
correct.
but in reality, in my opinion, allegedly, allegedly, the DSP model basically is designed to basically be kind of a ma and pa shop, people that don't know anything about delivery. And if you will come and be our straw man, straw woman, straw person, we will tell you how to do all this stuff, and then you will hire these people, and we will be completely insulated from liability when they screw up. That's what that is about. As big of a driver as anything is their insulation from liability. In their quest to be dominant and fast, they do not want to be responsible for all the bad stuff that's going to happen. They do not. And case in point. Oh, no, okay. Wait, I can't say case in point.
You can't say case
A
in point.
potential case in point, or okay, I can't say case in point. Let's say, for example, hypothetically, someone is a bar owner and they decide, I can make a lot of money being a DSP. This is what they told me. So they sign up to be a DSP. They've never, ever run a delivery service provider before or anything other than a bar, which is still a business, but it's a completely different model. Now they're told how many people they can hire. They're going to be given assignments of what they can do. They're going to be given the trainings. They're going to be given all this stuff, right? They're going to be given everything that they supposedly need to succeed. And they're going to potentially make X amount of dollars per year.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. As a business owner.
Right. Oh. So my question hypothetically is, how much should it cost someone to buy into a business that is going to generate supposedly a whole lot of income and a whole entire business. Don't you think it should be considerable?
Yeah, usually it is. I mean, like that's what happens when somebody becomes a partner in a firm, right? Like they've got to
Isn't it
spend.
should be a considerable, does
Well,
it, what it,
well, what
so,
you're describing, that's called potentially the franchisor franchisee model,
Yeah.
where you pay a
yeah,
franchisor's fee, like seed money, and then you have to then capitalize the business investment,
yeah.
like Subway sandwiches or McDonald's.
McDonald's,
You
yeah.
get the right to use the label, you get the right to use, but I don't know if that's a perfect fit because those are really real estate
Yeah, but all I'm
transactions.
saying is if it's too good to be true, it's too good to be true.
Well, if it's too good to be true, it's too good to be true. I want to focus on Amazon as Amazon is unloading risk. That's what it's
Correct.
doing. It's unloading risk. And so I think that where liability or vicarious liability comes in, vicarious liability is a legal mechanism that says you can't always unload risk onto somebody else. You can only do it under very distinct circumstances. And if you still have a right to control the person you've unloaded the risk to by way of a contract, you're still on the hook because otherwise people could contract away risk and create shells, and that harms the public.
So we put in one of our cases, it's on our website. We put the complaint in that case, which was amazing. I loved that. I loved drafting that complaint. Um, and I think I drafted it with Farhad. It was very interesting to go figure stuff out. And the complaint, we did it mainly off internet and things, where is Amazon and who, and we looked for CEO statements and what are their priorities. And our priority is to always be bigger and faster. And they're never satisfied. They always want to be bigger and faster and faster and faster. And that is built into the delivery model, the fastness, the speed, the amount with human beings. But that complaint is on the website under Barra versus Amazon. And I have to say, at the end of the day, when we were done doing discovery for that case resolved, we never needed to amend that complaint. I mean, what they do is not a secret. It is very controlled. It is highly tailored. It is very specific. It is very well thought out. They do have these entities that they try to shift the responsibility for when something goes wrong, which is going to go wrong when you're going that fast with that much of a burden. Because if you do not make all your deliveries, if you do not maximize, if you are not fast enough, because you're competing with everybody else, if you don't make these metrics work, then what happens?
You lose your job.
Well, you can't. You're not being profitable. And so if
You lose your assignments.
No, that's what I mean. The
Yeah.
people that are working for them
Yeah.
lose
Yep.
the ability to do their job at that point. So whether or not you're saying they've lost their job, they aren't working anymore.
I think, but I mean, if you want to, you got to look at, I always started to look and see what the other side's position, rationalization for doing this. This is public information. This is their Amazon's leadership principles. Customer obsession, focus on customers, work backward and build trust. These are just three of them that I think are relevant. Bias for action, value speed, recognizing that many decisions are reversible, two-way doors, and frugality, accomplish more with less, as constraints breed resourcefulness. These kind of concepts that are like what I call core company principles that drive the business. What they're thinking is like, we got to deliver a product to a customer as cheap as possible, and then we got to make sure our shareholders are making as much money as possible. Now that's just corporate.
You forgot one part of that.
Which part?
As fast as possible.
As fast as possible.
Amazon tries to be the fastest delivery service in the whole world.
Yeah,
Yes.
but remember,
And that is what's causing those delivery drivers to go too fast and end up in accidents.
okay, I'm hearing you. What I'm saying to you is that I think,
And I don't believe their corporate speak that says all this stuff. I think that that's what they put out in the public to make themselves look good.
no, but I think that they've made an economic decision.
Of course they have. That has been what they've been doing since they started as a company.
I know it's good, but they made an economic decision to expose that risk, to create that risk. Is what I'm saying is that these are not naive people. These are some of the most smartest people in the world that are. I'm saying you don't run a near $1 trillion.
Wrong. I'm going to say wrong on that one for sure.
Okay, well, we're talking about vicarious
Hold on,
liability. All
hold
right.
on. This is a CLE. We have to be legal.
We are being legal,
Okay.
but facts matter,
Okay,
principles
we
matter.
got this set up. Okay, we got this set up. People can tell we feel very deeply about this. Now, what exactly happens? Let me just tell you about how this story works. First of all, you get Amazon Lawyer Group 1. These are not the top of the lawyers list. These are like, I hate to say it, Mo believes in everybody's wonderful and it's all Amazon's fault. I do not. I believe, I do not believe that. I believe,
do I.
I believe you are a reflection of who you work for. Now, the first level of lawyer, I'm not saying that they're bad lawyers. I'm just saying that they are the lower tiered lawyer is the first round of lawyers that you're going to face.
And those are the lawyers for the DSP, right?
Well, no, you have to sue the DSP and Amazon.
No, I know, but I mean, which one's the first that you hit? Are you doing
the
at the same
Amazon,
time?
just of the Amazon, even if it's Flex, the Amazon, and they're going to not give you what you need. You're going to send out discovery,
Yeah.
and they're not going to give it to you. And they'll say, well, Amazon didn't give it to me. And Mo will go, oh my God, it's not your fault. It's Amazon's fault. And I'll go, it's their fault too. And he'll go into court and say, yeah, it wasn't their fault. It was Amazon's fault. And I'm like, what are you doing? You got to blame the lawyer too. And he goes, I don't want to. And I said, okay, fine, don't. And then the judge gives him like $100,000 in sanctions because against Amazon. So there's that thing, right? Then that will be replaced.
Yeah.
Depending upon the level of case. Then another law firm will come in and they'll say, oh yeah, that first law firm, they didn't really know what they were doing. They'll always throw them under the bus. This is like textbook.
Sort of a tactic, baby.
Oh yeah. And then they pretend, oh yeah, well, we're going to take care of this and we're going to make things better. And then Mo's going to go to the court and say, they haven't given us stuff again. But it's not these lawyers' fault either. It's Amazon's fault. And I'm going to say,
Well,
it's totally these lawyers' fault.
Can I just say, when I say that it's Amazon's fault, I just need you to know that before I came here, when I was at the Federal Public Defender, I tried one of the biggest data breach cases, and it was over 3 years and several week trial, and Amazon was involved in the case. I have like a ton of experience with working and understanding how the company operates.
I'm using this facetiously because every time I'm telling people, like,
Yeah.
I always say, would you quit not blaming the lawyers? But he won't blame the lawyers. He blames Amazon, and he gets another 100,000.
Oh, you're saying it that way. Yeah.
Yes, I've been saying this way. So
I see. Okay.
So here's the difference between practicing the way that it's very exhausting. Is number one, is what I want to tell you. Like, this is not easy. Because you have to look at their discovery and you have to see what they didn't give you. And you have to follow up immediately, and you have to have 26 eye conferences. And in one of our cases, he had 33 26 eye conferences, right? With Kristen.
Oh, 33, yeah.
33,
Yeah.
33 26 eye conferences. Now that resulted in like $180,000 in sanctions, and the judge was not happy with Amazon.
No.
But the amount of work, that's 33 of them. So it's not rocket science. You have to go through, you have to ask for the right stuff. If you need a set of, discovery, I don't know if that's on the internet, but it's not, privileged for us to give you suggested discovery, but it's what you would think it is. Give us your policies, practices, and procedures. And we do dial down a little bit. We can't talk about all the details. But it's that follow through of relentlessness, because what they're going to do is ignore, evade, and just try to gloss over constantly.
Well, that's
this
what
is
Mo was saying.
material, this is not a big deal.
But I mean, like, if you stand back and you watch, like, Amazon is I know you don't agree with it. They're very sophisticated in how they've designed a company. What they've done is they've created little, like, compartmentalized infrastructure within infrastructure apart from itself. So, like, the best example I can give is, like, before 9/11, part of the reason that 9/11 happened is that agencies were not talking to each other. Amazon has done a very good job of isolating organizations within it. So then what they do is they send a defense lawyer, literally on a wild goose chase to try to find information, because they don't have a structure in place to actually provide the documents. So this is what the 33 26 I conferences are for. Was a lot of this that we learned over the last, Karen, 2 years, 2.5 years we've been working on these cases
Oh, it's been longer
is
than that.
institutional knowledge about really understanding.
Like we didn't even know who to sue initially.
Yeah.
Amazon Logistics, the DSP, the driver, like, and then there's other entities within that. Like, and then you're thinking, okay, Amazon and Amazon Logistics, but there's not two Amazon lawyers. There's one Amazon lawyer.
Yeah.
Represents both. But there's two different entities. Like it is a bureaucrat. They make it complex because they're trying to hide stuff, obviously.
Yeah.
But let's talk about so other than getting these discovery requests out,
Yeah.
which are very much based upon policies, procedures, files, who's in charge and, where are all these documents and then not getting them. And then as soon as you do it once, then you know what you need to get. And then the next time it's easier and easier and so on and so on. And you get narrower and narrower on what you don't know. And then what you don't know is very interesting.
A general case involving Amazon should produce 20 to 30,000 pages of documents.
Okay. Lots. So use your search.
Use your AI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Discovery. We
You're
use that.
going to need an e-discovery management software.
Yeah.
You're going to need to upload it there. You're going to need to work with it.
Yeah.
You're going to need to really sit down and think about like the history. The one way to look at it is like big picture. Like, how did the Death Star begin? Like I compare Amazon to like,
They sold books.
the Imperial forces.
Yeah.
Right? How did the Death Star begin, and then where it is now, and then kind of go from the beginning and forward, and then drill down and find out how it got to that particular delivery service provider or flex person, and how did that relationship begin, and bring it together.
So interestingly, there is a relationship between the DSP, the owner of the delivery service provider, and Amazon. And I can't remember if that's confidential or not. If it was, you're going to have to get a protective order. And so let me just say,
You can go online right now and go see what it's like to become a DSP, and the requirements are written over
Yeah,
there. So that's all available.
but what I'm saying is, I, as a matter of principle, oppose all protective orders. And I lose always now. Like judges don't even seem to care. They just keep giving protective orders, but I don't care. I always say we're going to just go, we're going to fight them.
Yeah.
And we always lose. We try to keep them narrow and they're cumbersome and they're a pain in the butt. So some things I can't remember, and even if I could, I probably couldn't say it. The DSP provider they are in an agreement with Amazon. There's
a
contractual agreements
but
there.
The terms are confidential.
Let me just say this. There are personal dynamics that happen that you can take advantage of in these cases, particularly with the DSP provider. Let's say that the DSP provider is involved in one of these crashes, or that they weren't fast enough, or as soon as they get in conflict, now you have someone that's going to go and turn on Amazon. Amazon should have been smarter in one of our cases. They didn't maintain that relationship, let's say. And let's just say that the DSP provider like turned on them with fangs. That was a perfect situation. You want there to be conflict.
I want to dig in on what you're saying a little bit here,
Yeah.
because what you're saying here is that when we file a lawsuit, we have to sue the driver, we have to sue the delivery service provider, and this is the DSP model, and then we got to sue Amazon.
Yeah.
Right? So like you're suing three people, and you're saying all of you are at fault, and then the theories join several. Can you just say?
Well, you got to sue Amazon and Amazon Logistics.
Amazon Logistics. You're saying join several. What is that, real quick?
No, I mean everybody taking this knows what that is.
Knows what that is. Okay. And then so effectively they're going to try to blame each other. And so remember what they're saying to the public is
No, they're
that
not. They're going to try not to blame each other, but your job is to make them blame each other.
All right. So your job is to make them blame each other.
They're going to try to stay in cahoots with one another, and you need to fracture that.
Now listen, stay cahoots. Okay, just keep. I like that word cahoots. Let's put a pin in cahoots and put it up here, cahoots, and then now they're telling the public on the public. This is an independent thing, right? Guy's an independent. Why is an independent and another independent in cahoots?
Well, let me tell you also,
That's an interesting, yeah.
here is their real weak spot.
Yeah.
Regardless if it's a DSP or only the driver, a flex program driver, right?
Yeah.
Regardless, the driver is the easiest person to have poor feelings against Amazon. First of all, they were working for Amazon,
Yeah.
which treats people like crap. I mean, we went to Amazon, we put on the vests, they made us, oh my God, the people that show up, like you're escorted through the facility like you are either criminal or royalty, they're not sure which, and it's a huge posse of people, and you cannot deviate from the line, and you have to, only, do not take a picture of that box over there.
Yeah.
That box is off limits. And you're going to go to, the places that you need to go see, which we wanted to see where the DSPs were set up, where the vans were parked, how the delivery system is, where people were packing the carts. We wanted to see that. We want to see the education rooms. Okay. We want to see the training rooms. We want to see everything. They're like, why do you need to be in here? And Mo's like taking pictures of everything.
Yeah. You know what it reminded me of when I was in there? Have you ever seen Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory? It was like,
but not as fun.
But not as fun.
No, there was
but
no
it was
color.
It
was all brown boxes.
I was going to say there's no candy.
No, they had like images. There was like images and
can't say everything like it's protected.
No, that's that's not protected. They're pictures of this. But it's like remember, it's like, but I felt like it was like I was being marshaled and I had to stay in the particular lane, like in Willy Wonka. And then Willy Wonka says, you can't go, but you can't go into the room.
Okay, but don't get distracted.
I know, sorry, I got distracted.
So
but that's kind of how it felt like.
So the driver has been done wrong. They will. So here's the problem for Amazon.
Yeah.
They're going to always throw that driver under the bus because their whole thing is that, well, we are not their employer. We're not their employer. So most likely that person's going to have been terminated, almost always. And they will, and they are not going to have fun stories to talk about working for Amazon. The stories are going to be the same. I had to.
Which a lot of people have already.
I could not take lunch. I could not take breaks. I had to follow this app. I didn't know where I was going.
Somebody's yard.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Poop in someone's yard. I mean, yes. So it's never going to be good. If I didn't have enough boxes, then I would not get enough the next time. I was really struggling, blah, 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 blah. And these are often people that are working other jobs too. So that, because it's their own fault, because they treat the drivers like crap, or they assign someone else to treat the driver like crap, even though the driver is doing work for Amazon, the driver will turn on Amazon. So know where those points are in your case. Who's going to turn on who? Because it's not a love relationship that's keeping all these Amazon factions together. It's not a love relationship.
The low wage worker economy is an economy that is exploited across multiple industries. But you don't need to take our word for it. You can go look up National Labor Relation Board complaints of attempts by Amazon workers to try to unionize, like Starbucks, and how the company fights that, right? And so really, that's the angle. Like there's a deeper angle.
You want to take the deposition of that person. Normally in a car crash case, you want to take the deposition of the defendant as fast as you can. You don't really want to do that here.
Give them some time.
You want to get the file. You want to get any documents you can find.
Yeah.
You want to figure out, as fast as you can. They're going to have cameras. They're going to have the app. You want to get the app. And you don't want to just get the app. Mo got an order allowing us to have an expert take apart the app.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know how much they fought that?
They fought that.
Well, I'm sure they fought it as long as they could.
Because there's one of the things that this is what's.
And why could we take apart the app? Because our allegation is these people are ruled by the app. It's like, futuristic stuff. And they're watching the app. I'm sure that Amazon would rather implant the app into people's brains, but this is as close as they can make it. So And they have this Netrodyne. They have all these other systems. There's a system that runs the app. There's a system that runs the camera. All these different parts and pieces go together, and you need to get them before you depose the driver. Do not depose the driver until you get all the different pieces that you need.
This idea about technology is like a layer of this that institutionally we've been able to learn a lot about, because when you just are exposed to so many cases and you're working in the depths and the information, understanding datification of the employee. Like the employees are data points. They are not human beings. What you start to learn is that they've become, it's like the Matrix. It's literally like
Tell people about taking the deposition of the trainer. So we were getting ready. We really wanted to try this case. And I kept saying, okay, well, the first witness has to be the worst, the worst of the Amazon witnesses, of which there were numbers of Amazon witnesses.
Yeah.
Who's the absolute worst witness that could testify?
Person who trains,
And what happened in this? Tell them the test results.
that they failed.
Well, you got to be more specific.
Well, I can't be more specific.
Okay, I can be more specific.
Yeah.
So, for example, there were like 11.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah, there were 3 days. There were 3 days of testing. Day number 1 is he takes some written stuff. He passed it, like by 1 point. Day number 2, more written part. Day number 3 was the driving part, where you have to navigate in a parking lot, through the cones. And I think it was a scale of 1 to 11 or 1 to 9. No, 1 to 12 or 1 to 11.
Something like that.
And had failed all but 3.
Yeah.
Now, there was no training and retaking of the test. There was just like, well, good enough.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
that was going to be our first witness, because that was literally the standard. It was good enough. They just moved them forward. We had focus group this. We knew people would be mad. It's the details that matter. And when you look at the details, they have all the systems in place that no matter all of the systems involved, the systems have to mesh to humanity, and they don't. Humans cannot function the way that they want them to for that level. When Amazon needs drivers, they want drivers. They're going to get those drivers, even if they miss almost all of the tests, the driving tests. They're going to still get them. Maybe sometimes that change. Maybe some of it's changed since we even had the case. I don't know, but it was shocking.
Well, yeah. So when the right to control test speaks to this. It says that one of the things that gives you a right to control is if you train, even though if you're
so quick, in case there's anybody here that because this is a podcast, it's not a lawyer.
Yeah.
So vicarious liability is a legal concept that says no matter what you call someone, an agent, an employee, an independent contractor, a volunteer, or whatever you're trying to call them, you need to look at what is the actual relationship. Yeah. And what are the elements of vicarious liability?
The elements is
got to look it up.
I got to look one. Look it up.
The primary one is control.
Yeah,
and the control has to. And what are the elements of control? And so it goes through that. He'll look it up. But for example, our elements in Amazon cases are: can you just show up when you want to? No. Can you just load whatever boxes? Can you choose your customers? No. You have to. For an Amazon branded van, you're going to wear that van. I mean, you're going to wear that. You're going to wear the clothes, the hat, the vest. You're going to use the van. You're going to be given a pouch with your stuff, the phone, the charger, anything else that's Amazon you're going to put it up there on the console, and that's going to be your app, and you're going to follow it, and it's going to tell you, here's customer 1, 2, 3, and it's going to take you to there. You're going to get your boxes loaded by Amazon in the order that Amazon wants them delivered by the Amazon people. And then you're going to leave, and then you're going to be monitored by the app, by all the system in the van that has all the internal and external camera systems and recordings. They're going to be looking at your mileage and how you drive. If you make a sudden stop, they're going to report that. It goes onto your file of you had, so many incidents of when you stopped too fast, or, you went over a yellow line, or it's just like you're driving a vehicle that's surveilling not just outside, but you. And they're going to say that they can't get that stuff. They're going to say that they can't get it in discovery. Well, Netterdyne's a whole different company. Well, this app company, yeah, no, it's a different app now. It's not called Rapid. Now it's called something else. They're constantly renaming and revising and redoing it and saying that it's too hard. They can't find it. Well, yes, they can find it when a court orders them to do that.
It's the restatement of torts section 220 that lays out the factors. There's multitude of factors, and just
give us the basics for people that are not lawyers that are listening to the podcast.
The basics are the extent of control which by the agreement the master may exercise over the details of the work, whether or not the one employed is engaged in a distinct occupation, the kind of occupation with reference to whether in the locality the work is usually done under the direction of the employer or by a specialist without supervision, the skill required in the particular occupation, whether the employer or the workman supplies the instrumentalities, tools, and the place of work for the person doing the work, the length of time for which the person is employed, method of payment, whether by the time or by the job, whether or not the work is part of the regular business of the employer, whether or not the parties believe they are creating the relation of master and servant, and whether the principal is or is not in business. So these are the factors that you have to look to.
There's some of them. We can get more dialed down and more specific.
More dialed down, but they drive the inquiry. It's like one thing I would look at is training, tools, control over where you are, what you got to do.
They train them. You have to go through Amazon School,
Yeah.
be a flex driver. To be a DSP. That where are they located?
Yeah.
The DSP is located inside of Amazon warehouse. They have a mailing box address. I remember looking up where's this DSP located? I was like, oh, here's the address. And then I went to go find out what that building was, and it was a post office box. It was a postal. It didn't say post office box. It was just an address inside of a post office building. Because, yeah. So you have to just look at these things to see, what kind of relationship is this?
And then so we've talked about last mile. I want to speak briefly about middle mile. Middle mile is the long haul drivers, which is the trucks, because done a couple of those cases.
Yeah.
And they have to go get the trucks that come off the ships or the freight or whatever. And then you have long haul truck drivers that grab the freight and haul it to a particular location, which is then by last mile, the van or the guy, they're distributed to the customers. That model is just similar, is that, people go onto a system, and this is the middle mile system. They go onto a relay system and can hop on and say, oh, I'll go pick up a freight. I'll take this freight. And there's a relationship, same structure. You're an independent hauler. You're just carrying my freight. And they do the same thing. So it's the same model, Mike.
So I want to talk a little bit about the extraordinary level of nastiness involved in this litigation. So you're dealing, by the time you're done, because they don't really fire that first law firm. They're still there. And then they got a second law firm involved. And then you got the DSP law firm. There's a lot of lawyers involved. And they will take depositions of all the lay witnesses. It is intense. And meanwhile, you're trying to get the liability. What we do here is, several things. Number one is we start going as hard as we can on damages as they are going on liability. And so, for example, I start taking, because a lot of times they get so distracted on trying to prevent us from getting vicarious liability that they don't do enough of a workup on damages, or they send out the most junior attorneys to take damages depositions. Steve Fogg typically shows up later on these cases. I'm like, why are you doing this to me? And he just smiles. He's like, yeah, why are you taking these depositions? And I'm like, because I'm going to kick your butt in trial. But I have been starting to take the treating doctor's depositions because they don't do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to take them. I'm going to start taking the treating doctor's depositions. And so we are going mad. We are going mad and fast as heck in these cases, just liability, damages, everything is going full stop litigation with the team of lawyers that we have here in the law firm, which, I could name all of them that are involved in these cases, but we're just big teams. it still doesn't account for the level of cruelty and meanness and nastiness that we have experienced here. And I want to just tell one story about a client who survived, and he ended up being fused. He did have a pre-existing condition that didn't cause the need for the fusion, but he was fused from C2 in his spine, so cervical vertebrae number 2, down to T2. So it was a 7-level fusion. Basically, almost half of his spine was fused. This is pretty objective. Like, you can see the scar. If you have an X-ray, you can see the rods in his spine. You can see, if you meet him, that he can't literally do anything other than, move his whole body when he turns his head. They wanted him to go see a medical examiner. Okay, fine. Go waste your time, right? Go for it. Go for it. So it turns out that it's on Martin Luther King Jr. Day. We agreed to it because, honestly, there was a little mix-up during the first schedule. The paralegal that was supposed to accompany him from another office just fell asleep and missed it. So we were trying to accommodate it, and it turned out to be on Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Our client was from Ethiopia, and so was a paralegal. And we had already gotten into it with the lawyer, one of the lawyers from Steve's office. I'd gotten into it with her many times. And we had finally gotten into it with her because she was demanding that we do stuff on Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And we said, we are not going to be working. We expect you not to go filing motions that require us to have answers due on that day. And we expect you to respect the fact that we are members of the BIPOC community, and you are being very offensive. So on Martin Luther King Jr. Day, Mo is coaching his son, 10 years old, at the MLK tournament.
Yeah.
And what happens?
I get a call that did you during the examination that the client's being followed by somebody. And so I say,
and who do they think it might be?
And how did they know they were
because he was doing a terrible job of tailing them. And the second thing was that they thought it was ICE.
Because they're both Ethiopian.
Yeah, Somali.
And, well, I'm sorry, Somalian. And our client wears a very traditional garb.
Yeah. And so what was, and so I said, like, do you feel safe? And then I was like, if you feel safe, pull over at a stop and take pictures of the plates, and I'll go find out who it is. And so he goes and stops at a strip mall, walks up, the car's parked. He doesn't still doing a terrible job of being a tail. Walks up to go take a picture, and then the guy gives him, the universal language of
fix him off.
Yeah.
And our guy actually got a photograph of it. So, long story short,
we got a judge order.
Hired a PI to find out who this guy was. Turns out he was a PI from Oregon. Now, we wanted, then we did, this is like on Monday. On Tuesday or Monday night, no, Tuesday, we tell the defense this happens and we want to depose this guy. And by the way, and we send them the pictures of him flipping our clients off. And they are pretty embarrassed that we caught him. And he shows up for deposition. Okay. Now, what do we learn in deposition?
Mike, what did we learn?
Well, we learned
how many PIs were there that were tailing this guy?
There were 2 guys.
No, there were 4 total.
Oh, well, there were 4. Yes.
4 total PIs had been tailing.
I meant 2 that were there
yes.
when he came.
2 at a time.
Yeah.
And they were trying, they couldn't get him, they couldn't find him because honestly, all he did was be in his apartment or go to the mosque. So they knew that he was going to go to the exam, and they tailed him there and they tailed him back. And they had taken a bunch of pictures of him, like talking to people. They'd followed him into restaurants. They were trying to overhear conversations, but they didn't have their mics on.
Amateur hour.
Yeah, beyond
amateur hour. I mean, it's one of the most.
What did the court order say?
The court order said you have to basically, the court said that you're prohibited from using this guy, and you can't do it on holidays like this.
They said that they cannot ever, ever um, schedule anything again on a holiday
Yeah.
that involves the BIPOC community,
Yeah.
as we complained about.
Yeah.
And they told them that they could not use that PI again.
Yeah.
And I thought that they said that they could not tail our client again.
I don't know if it went that far. I don't remember the order went that far, but the court was concerned about what happened because, this guy was like, I don't know, it was like
And
the Benny Hill show.
And who asked for this? Who asked for this tailing?
Amazon did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do want to say, like, one of the things is that we get cases that come to us that
This is, by the way, this is ridiculous. This is so mean. This guy, like I said, fused from C2 to T2, undisputed.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things is we get cases that come to us and we triage the case, but we are moving cases. I averaged it out from bringing in to ending the case 10 and a half months.
They get really mad. They keep asking the court for continuances.
Yeah,
on the other hand, they don't really want to keep working with us. And so I think that is our number one recommendation. This is ruthless litigation with Amazon.
I mean,
if you aren't getting sanctions, if you are not having multiple CR26Is, then you're just not getting everything. Because they are, in our experience so far, we have yet to have a case where they have given us what they should have.
Yeah. It's 12:52. Is there any questions?
Oh yeah, questions. Well, you can look while you're looking. We'll just keep talking.
I don't see any new questions in the chat.
Okay.
Okay, good. All right. Well, that's good. That means we did a good job.
So one of the cases that
somebody did ask how much they pay to become a DSP.
Oh yeah, well you can find the ads. It's surprisingly little.
Yeah,
actually I can say that we asked our economic expert, what are the chances in the real world of paying that much down to become a business and then having them basically give you every single thing that you need for that business, every single thing, and then they don't guarantee you money, but they have the ability. You're going to make it if they give you the assignments. And he said, this is not in the real world. That's what the economist said. Like, this is not, it's subsidized. This is subsidized.
It's on there. If you go to logisticsamazon.com, it says that annual profit potential of 100,000 to 400,000, startup costs as low as 10,000.
There you go.
And then there's an asterisk. It says startup costs based on first 5 vehicles and may vary by location.
Yeah.
Modeled revenue and profit range is supported by past performance of DSPs operating for 12 months as reported in Amazon's financial reviews and is not a guarantee of earnings. Actual results may vary based on location and owner.
Yeah. We were very interested in the fact that.
So 10,000.
How do you start a business for $10,000 and make 100 to 400 the first year?
I mean, that's a really attractive model. I mean, if you think about it, right?
It's a very attractive model if it actually works that way. But,
But I'll tell you, don't remember. I mean, yeah, we are getting cases, but we're not getting cases from every DSP. So, and Amazon's making money. That means the DSPs are making money. So there are DSPs out there that are making that money, is what I'm saying. Otherwise, the system would fail. The system is not failing; it is thriving.
Well, I'm a local counsel on a case for an attorney from South. I can't remember if it's South Carolina or South Dakota, South Carolina, who tried one of these and got a large verdict back there, and has this case over here, and they are filing summary judgment motions. Amazon filed a summary judgment motion on vicarious liability. Yes. So we're probably going to have to look at it and make sure that does, see what's going on. Because, in your local counsel, you kind of sit back and consult a little bit, but you don't really tell people what to do. You just let them do it. which is what I've been doing. Yes, you need, 4,200 words for a summary judgment motion. That's your word limit. I do stuff like that. So I'll probably need to pay attention and look at see what that motion actually says. Because I don't know that I mean, they cannot keep, maybe they can. They can afford anything that they want to. So they can afford to litigate these claims and decide if they want someone to go to trial or not, by whether they resolve it or not. I would personally like to go to trial on one of these cases. But this one they've moved for summary judgment on vicarious liability.
Interesting. Let's see what happens. I think the moral of the story is that what?
Oh my God, sue Amazon.
Yeah.
Continue to sue
Do
it.
not believe them when they say there's $1 million policy limit.
Test their economic model. And if we don't have any other questions, do we?
Nope.
Nope.
Oh, wait.
Oh,
Let's see. In the DSP model, are you leasing the trucks from Amazon?
Yep.
well, that's a really good question. There are a couple of ways to get the trucks. One is a lease, and one is through a holding company.
Yeah.
Kind of like rental cars.
And then what experts generally are you using to establish the elements of their business model?
I don't use experts. I use their own witnesses. I use their own employees, and I use their own stuff against them.
30B6 is your friend.
Yeah, but there's I would say there's an art to the 30B6 approach with Amazon, which would take another hour to talk about it, but I wouldn't just start with a 30B6.
Yeah, he was actually telling me the other day that he hated the 30B6 model.
I mean, the 30B6 is like, let me go to train a guy to tell him what to say. Here's my puppet. I don't want to deal with that guy. I like to see, I would like to get down and dirty,
You
get
like
real
the puppet.
witnesses.
I like the puppet guy in trial, but in discovery, when you're actually trying to get stuff, the puppet guy is irritating.
Yes.
But you can do both. You want the puppet guy,
Yes.
and hopefully a really bad puppet,
Yes.
and typically a lawyer that will only be lawyer-like.
Yes.
But yeah, it's getting the people.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Getting the people.
You want the trainers.
Yeah.
And you want the finances, you guys. You got to get the finances.
Yeah.
You want to know, and everything between Amazon and the DSP.
Yeah.
Everything, not just like a folder. Everything. All right.
Well, we got a couple minutes left.
Well, what I think is that
Are you going to wear that all day long?
I like it. I think the color is becoming. It's raining outside. It's kind of giving me like my vitamin D.
I think it's good to make sure that defense counsel can see you clearly.
I know. And by the way, I'm an incredible inspector. I got to tell you,
Yeah.
one of these warehouses,
Yeah.
I could go get a job inspecting warehouses as like a career after this.
They are very clean.
They're incredibly clean.
I mean, they must have cleaner robots because I am a clean freak and I had no complaint.
Oh, by the way, the snacks.
Oh yeah. They have
The
this break
best.
room. The break room is as big as this whole office. It is empty, of course, because who has time to have a break when you work for Amazon?
Everybody's
But
out working.
I mean, my favorite part was like, I'm like, is anybody ever in this room? Because there's
And
so
the
much.
snack.
There's so much, and they have like, oh my God, they have like foosball tables.
They
and-
have the special nerds, the gummy nerds.
Yeah. Hello.
I mean, but you got to pay for it. It's not free. You got to pay for it.
Gotta pay for everything.
I know.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, wait. Somebody asked one last question. Can you share discovery requests with us? Motions.
The answer is we can share. You mean the actual the discovery request? Yes, we will
Yeah.
put together a basic discovery request.
Yeah, we can do that. We can do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just email Kassie and we'll give it to her and she can send it to anybody
Yeah.
that asks for it.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Mo, Karen, and Mike. That was a great presentation. Please make sure to fill out the poll so I can get you credit for attendance. Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
So